Hello and welcome into another edition of Sitting Down with Sgar. I'm the football voice of the Hoyas, Jeremy Huber, joined by Georgetown head coach Rob Scarlatta. Coach, we took a week off from the show with the bye week. Last game, a disappointing one against Lafayette, currently on top of the standings in the league with Holy Cross. 35-25 loss. First off, good to see you again, Coach.
Yeah, great to see you.
Let's get right down to business. I think obviously a lot of questions about that game against a really tough opponent in the Leopards, but we have to start with Danny Lauder. He
Yeah.
sets a record, his first, not only his first start, his first action as a Georgetown Hoya comes on and throws for a school record 428 yards. It's funny, Coach, in my other job at Sirius XM, Kevin O'Connell from the Vikings was on one of our shows, and they were talking about Josh Dobbs, and Coach O'Connell said, look, there were traits there. That's one of the reasons we wanted, but I'd basically be lying if I thought he would have come in after 5 days and led our team to a win like he did. I got a feeling with Danny, it's got to be a similar feeling of a lot of great traits there, but you couldn't have imagined that he would have done this in his first outing.
Yeah, I hate to make your serious show not the same as this one, but and you've seen it. You've been in a lot of practices. Danny's got as good of an arm as anybody at this level. I've always said it. If you put him on the field with quarterbacks that are at a higher level, whether it's the Maryland, Virginia kids, he's going to be right in that class as far as throwing the football. So I give a lot of credit to our guys up front. Did a good job of keeping them clean most of the game, and he's throwing to a very solid receiver core. With Jimmy Kibble, Brock Beast, Cam Pygott, Nick Dunneman, Ty Reed, and also the backs. Naeem and Josh do a great job catching the ball in the backfield. So, I think it was a big team effort. I thought he threw the ball extremely well. And, the biggest thing about Danny is he really does have a shooter's mentality. He really doesn't have much of a conscience. If he makes a mistake, he kind of says, okay, I'll come back and reload it and throw it again. So he did a good job, in my opinion, of running our offense, which is not the simplest offense to run, with Coach Spence doing a good job with shift, trade, and motion on almost every play. So really impressed with how he came out, how he controlled his emotions, ran the offense, and he did some really, really good stuff, especially in his first start.
And Coach, getting a lot of places I can go off of that response, but one I really wanted to ask you about is Coach Spence, the guy they call the Wizard. Both the players and the coaches seem to call him that because of the wealth of information he has. How much credit do you have to give to him for kind of coming out and changing things on the fly? A little different style than Tyler Knopp. Also looking at an offensive line that maybe kind of couldn't have that run game that's supposed to be a young quarterback's best friend. How much credit has to go to Coach Spence for coming up with a great game plan for Danny to do what he did?
Yeah, if the first coach I ever saw in a clinic after I graduated from Georgetown was Rob Spence up at St. Albans. We used to run a clinic up there with a lot of the DC coaches. And, he is a teacher of the game. He can coach every position. He's been almost everywhere on the map in college football. So, I give a lot of credit to how Coach Spence has structured the staff as well. Everybody in that room has input, from Joey Porton, the O-line coach, to Steve Thames, the pass game coordinator, to Jack McDaniel, and our quarterbacks coach, to Kenny Tinsley, so our running backs coach. If you sit in there during the week, it's not, hey, we're doing this. It's, hey, what do you guys think? How does this best fit our position? How do you guys want to teach this? What can we do with this? So, we're always looking for detail-oriented teachers. And Coach Spence has done a really good job of playing to our guys' strengths, whether it was last year with Pierce Holly and Josh Tomas to this year with what we've been able to do with TK, in our offense, and then having Danny step in there and have, a record-setting day. So, they've done a good job consistently throughout the year. And, it's I can tell you from defending them every day in practice, they give you challenges and make you have to be extremely sound in what you're doing versus against the run and the pass.
Coach, you also mentioned the offensive line, and we know about the injury issues up front. Obviously, the tackles have stayed pretty healthy, but the inside is kind of a bit of a carousel for them to come out and really keep Danny clean. And I know part of that's getting rid of the ball, other things, but to do what they did in that sense, how proud of you were of that group to kind of do their job.
Yeah, if you've ever been around a good offensive line, they have their own culture. They're in their own room. They sit in the corner and do their work every day. And I think Coach Parton's done a great job building on the foundation that was there with our old line group, and really just had the next guy ready to play. So he does a really good job of teaching the fundamentals. And if you watch, you've seen a lot of our younger guys being able to come in and get time and not really have to miss a beat as far as the scheme and the technique and those things. So, that group has battled hard all year, fought through a lot of injuries, and, it's a next man up mentality. So, overall, we'll hopefully be able to run the ball a little bit better than we did this past week as we get ready for Bucknell. And being able to play to Danny's strengths with him throwing the football and keeping clean last week was a huge part of how we were able to move the ball for 400 plus yards.
Coach, one question before we transition over to the defense. Special teams, first play of the game, you go with the surprise onside kick, not the execution that you wanted. Thinking behind that.
Yeah, we practice it a lot during the week, and we want to be really aggressive, especially in the special teams. We call them the special forces, and saw an opportunity there on film. Throughout the years, we've been able to hit a couple of those and change the games and steal a possession. So, Pat Ryan has really come on throughout the season. Has done a great job of kicking field goals for us, and has that in his bag. So, we thought we would take a shot at it. We were successful all week with it, and unfortunately went out of bounds. And those are the things, though. If you practice it all week and you commit to it, the kids have to have faith that you're going to call it in the game, and that's how we approach those things. So, always looking for an edge. Always looking to try and steal a possession, and saw the opportunity there. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. And then our defense was fine with it as well. You come out, and that's a series that you get to start right at midfield, and you have to step up and get a stop.
Coach, that dovetails into my next question. Defensively, the number's pretty good. You hold them right around 300 yards, but some of those quick change situations, a long run in there, kind of assess the defense's performance with those two sides of the coin.
Yeah, defense has been solid all year. We're playing some younger players, and you have to give Lafayette credit. Their backs do a great job. They do a good job in the run game. Coach Troxel's done a good job in a short period of time of getting that football team to be a lot better than what they've been in the last couple of years. So, overall, I think it was a good defensive performance. We have to force some more turnovers, and we talk about it all the time. Eliminate the big play. So once we settled down after the first quarter, I thought we played pretty solid on defense.
Coach, be remiss if I didn't ask about senior day. Obviously, an important day as a head coach. It's kind of your way to send off a lot of guys who have committed to your program, been around for a long time. What was that like? What is it like for you as a coach? And was it a little weird to have it as early as you guys had to because of the way your schedule's set up?
Yeah, it was a little strange with, being the third to last game to do it. And you have to do a great job of honoring the people that have stuck with you. If you look back, this is the year of the players that came in through the pandemic, and I've been doing this close to 30 years in college. That was the most challenging time to be going through a transition, not only from high school to college, but also having to fight through the challenges of COVID. So, our program is in a great spot because of the work that those seniors and those fifth years have done. If you look at us, just our progression from the last 3 years, we have a big mix between some older players playing and some younger players. And I'm extremely, extremely thankful to those seniors for the position they put us in this year and helping us build the program back from, not playing from the pandemic. So really special day to see them celebrate with their parents and have the whole Georgetown football family show their appreciation. So it was great to be able to do that on Cooper Field and be able to spend some time with them before and after the game.
Rob, trying to get back into win column this week as you go up to Lewisburg and take on a Bucknell team that kind of looks a little different than the last few years you played them. They've got a really good quarterback, the transfer from Oklahoma, Ralph Rucker. Kind of assess what you've seen on film from the Bison.
Yeah, they do a great job scheme-wise. John Baer, who was here as our tight ends coach, and our running backs coach, who did a great job for us, is their coordinator now. And they're doing a really good job getting the ball to one of the deeper skill sets of players in the Patriot League. So, if you look at their games, they do a really good job scheme-wise of taking a look at you and attacking you. And they gave Fordham, a great game this past weekend. So, definitely be a challenge going out there, and we're looking forward to it.
Well, Coach, one of the guys that's going to be helpful in that quest to slow down Bucknell is our sitting down with Sgar spotlight this week. It's Hoya defensive lineman Mateen Ibaroba. Mateen, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let's start off here. Another nice game for you on Saturday against Lafayette. 2.5 tackles for loss, a half a sack. You've kind of been a big player over the years when it comes to the defensive line. What gave you some chances to find success last week?
This doing my job, holding everybody accountable is really just doing my job, trusting the scheme, just playing to the best of my ability and just keeping the intensity up.
Yeah, and intensity is a big thing, and there are some intense guys on that line. Talk about Veron Garrison, talk about John Caramonico, also Ivory Harrell and his spot. What's that intensity like in that defensive line and rushing group? Is it kind of as they say, the old cliche pack of wild dogs? Is that kind of the attention that the way you guys get after it sometimes?
Yeah, we try to just get out there every day. We have like a standard that we hold each other for, and we just try to just be intense every day, bring it, really just be vocal leaders for the defense and just establish dominance in our own way.
Coach, let's throw this over to you. Doing some reading on Mateen, a lot of folks kind of saw him as a Division III player late in the process. I think you guys kind of got in and gave him the opportunity, and boy, have you look good for doing it. What kind of made you guys think that, no, this is a guy who can excel in the Patriot League?
Well, if you spend any time with Mateen and you get a chance to talk to him one-on-one, you see where his values are. You see, how his family has raised him and what's important to them, which was, being excellent both on the field and in the classroom. And if you look at the things that he's done in both those arenas for us here at Georgetown from day one when he walked in, he was not a Division III player. From day one he walked in and said, I'm going to establish myself as a starter. I'm going to play. I'm going to compete. And those are the things that we're looking for as we're bringing recruits to Georgetown, because it is difficult to be able to be, at the top of it, both on the athletic side and in the classroom. So, from our standpoint, anytime that you can get an impact player from the local area here, the football in the DMV is awesome. We talk about defend the district, and that's a big thing for us. We want to make sure that we're doing a great job of keeping the local players home. Nothing worse than being in a great Patriot League battle and looking across the way and seeing a kid from just over the river who we should have here playing for us in the blue and gray. So very, very happy to have Mateen with us. He's taken on a leadership role early in his career. And honestly, he's playing great for us. And I still think his best football is in front of him.
Mateen, we kind of talked before we got going. You and I are sort of funhouse mirror images in a sense that you're a DC suburb or a Maryland suburbs kid. I'm a Virginia suburbs guy. What did you know about Georgetown kind of growing up, and did anything change once you got on campus and saw what this place was all about?
Yeah, I knew a little bit about Georgetown growing up, especially Georgetown Prep. My family wanted me to go to Georgetown Prep, so I knew a little bit about Georgetown. It really expanded towards my senior year when I first was talking to the coaches. I just had to research a lot and just learn what like Georgetown is, and I just really learned like it's really just a prestigious school, like a lot for it. It's a great school all around. Discussed it with my family, and they're really just in tune with the whole school in a sense. So during the whole process, I just learned more and more about Georgetown.
Mateen, Coach kind of said how, like I said, some may not have thought you were of this level of player, but they knew you were. What did you try to do to make sure you were ready to come in and be a guy who could contribute right away in a Patriot League squad?
Yeah, so I have a teammate back home in McCluskey. We used to play when we were 8 in youth football. I just lifted him with him over the off season. I was in the group chat with some of the 5th years, older guys. They helped me out with my form, told me to do certain workouts, certain supplements, and they really gave me tips to really succeed at Georgetown. And all I did was just listen because they had been here and I trusted the process.
Mateen, speaking of listening, Coach Kevin Snyder's come in this year. I think he's done some really good work with that defensive line. What has he kind of taught you to help elevate your game?
He taught me more like the little things, my skills, eye progression, like level, keeping your pads low, little things that I needed to expand on in my game that I couldn't really do in my freshman year. He really helped me expand that in a sense.
Coach, one last one for you. When it comes to Mateen, what are some of the things that make him so tough when it comes to other squads in the Patriot League? I've gotten a lot of good comments about him. What do you think, as the guy who coaches him, what is the things that make him so tough to contain sometimes?
He goes the same speed first play of the game and last play of the game. When we are up in games and teams are trying to come back on us, I have the utmost confidence that he's going to be at the same level, with relentless effort and help us close games. So he's an every down player. He's not somebody that you try to sub out and get off the field. And when they're critical downs, I want him on the field. So, for me, that's what you want. You want shooters. You want guys that want the ball at the end of the game. And in that aspect for the defensive line, I put Mateen up there with the best in the conference. I'll take him, with the game on the line, especially, in that last drive.
Well, Mateen, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck this week against Bucknell.
And thank you for having me.
That's Mateen Ibaroba, and of course, head coach Rob Scarlotta. And that'll wrap it up for another edition of Sitting Down with Scar. Remember, Georgetown back in action this week at Bucknell, 1 p.m. Eastern kickoff. See it in person if you're in central Pennsylvania, or watch it online at ESPN+. Again, Coach, thanks to Coach Scarlotta, our guest, Hoya defensive lineman Mateen Ibaroba, and producer Eliza Kravitz. That's all for this edition of Sitting Down with Scar. I'm Jeremy Huber, Hoya Saxa.